Last time on Square Roots, we met two Lancelots, saved a duke, and were knighted. Oh, and we were introduced to the expansive world of, Gogistan? America? Wallister? I don't fucking know.
And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zandt.
Hey everybody, it's me, Matthew Van Zandt, your host, and I'm joined this week by my co-host, John Brandon. Thank you, producer Jimmy, for letting us, for introducing us, and now we'll go ahead and take over.
I was gonna say John Beastmaster Brandon.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got one of those, but I don't know how to use her.
They're basically only good when there are monsters on the field.
Oh, okay.
But not dragons, because that's two different things. And better scout ahead of time and make sure that you got the right things selected in your... Oh, boy.
Slight programming note. Vanessa cannot be here this evening. She has a case of terrible diarrhea.
Mm-hmm. Well, terrible diarrhea and a stronger desire to watch the last night of the DNC. It is last night, right? Whatever. Last night of the DNC. Rather than, talk to you beautiful listeners. Sorry.
I have a hard time watching stuff like that. I mean,
me too.
I don't want to. It seems like homework.
Oh, I like it. I'm a real sucker for a moving motivational speech.
I'll watch a clip of a speech. That's the most you're going to get out of me. Also, I know who I'm voting for. I don't need this.
Yeah, that I could see that. I like the makes me feel patriotic.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Let's see. What else do we do here? I don't remember. I said we play your favorite
producer
classic
Jim,
RPGs.
I believe you get back behind your computer and don't talk for the next 2 hours.
No, I'm like Robin on Howard Stern. I chime in whenever I want to.
Oh, jeez. I don't remember agreeing to that. Oh, wait. Jim's pulled his contract out. Okay, it says it right there. You can chime in whenever you want. That's fine. You're also allowed to pee on me if I disagree with you? I did not.
Yeah.
I did not okay this.
You're the one who put it in the contract, buddy. Don't try to pretend you didn't. Anybody have any hot gaming news?
I wrote the notes. I don't have to look up the hot gaming news.
Gamescom was a thing. There were some Gamescom announcements.
Like what?
I don't remember.
Borderlands 4?
Borderlands 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, really? I missed that.
There's,
coming hot off the release of the Borderlands movie?
Yeah, I guess they're hoping for more of... Apparently, though, the release of the movie put a huge uptick. I think Borderlands 3 was, like, the most played game on Steam for a bit.
Oh, please don't talk to me about Steam fucking charts. I hate it. I hate it.
There's a very realistic looking Sims like game that's coming out called Inzoi.
Mm-hmm.
INZOI that looks
Do you guys watch them
realistic? I don't know, but you're designing like a very realistic looking character in the trailer.
Peter Molyneux has announced his next game will be called Albion, and it's set in the same world as Fable, and he says there's no law against him making a game even if he doesn't have the rights to it, because he can't trademark Albion because that was a word before. I kind of want to see how that plays out.
He might be right. I mean, if he runs around saying this is the same world as Fable a bunch, then they will sue the shit out of him, and he will probably lose. Because you can definitely use the name Albion again, but you can't tell people it's the same fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
There was another announcement. Persona 3 Reload DLC episode Aegis is coming out.
Yeah.
And they announced that Joker from Persona 5 will be making an appearance.
Probably as like a costume. When I finished Persona 3 Reload, I immediately went to go download the DLC, and I was very excited to get started on that because that game was a delight. And I probably spent a solid 30 minutes trying to figure out why it wouldn't download before I realized that it's not out yet.
Oh, wow.
That buzzing sound that you may have just heard behind me is my cat in her cone of shame, trying to shake it off her head. You may hear that a few times.
There's a
hang on. We got to roll it back. What did you talk about after Borderlands?
Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah, before
Joker.
that.
The Sim-like game. Borderlands 4.
Okay, never mind. Whatever I was going to say is gone from my brain forever.
They released a trailer for the new Dark Pictures game called Directive 8020.
I did not watch that trailer, but I'm still interested.
Looks interesting. They said it's going to change the way the games play.
Oh.
I wasn't really sure how, but it looks interesting. It's like a sci-fi game. It is in the Dark Pictures series, but I think this is like the Dark Pictures 2.0. It's like the next level.
Yeah, wasn't that
Pictures.
a planned thing that they were doing?
Yeah.
What are they going to do now that the guy that played the curator's dead?
I don't know. It's a
Wow.
good question.
Hey, I guess I do have one piece of hot gaming news. Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Times, I think, is the name of the game. Got a trailer today. That's not a joke. I really think the name of the game is Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Times. Olden something. And it looks fucking awesome. It looks awesome. It looks like it's taking a lot from Heroes of Might and Magic 3, one of my favorite games. And I am very excited. I hope that it comes out good. Trailer can't really tell you that, but it's got really nice looking graphics. I was curious. Did either of you ever play that? I bet Johnny did. Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Johnny?
Never touched one.
No? Wow.
Me either.
They're neat. They're neat. They're fun games. It's a mix of like base building and exploration and turn-based, like hexagonal, kind of strategic battles, like small map strategic battles. I was obsessed with Heroes of Might and Magic 3 when I was younger, and I played the shit out of it for hours and hours and hours. What a fantastic game. Anybody else got any hot gaming news? Olden Era is the name of the game. Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era. That's fun.
They the makers of the Little Nightmares series announced their new game that's called Reanimal. Looks like kids escaping from big, scary, anthropomorphic animals. So that sounds fun. They announced Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is going to launch on December 6th.
Oh, yeah, they announced that a while ago, but I'm not really interested in that, but like, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it'll be free to play. Maybe I'll be interested in downloading it sometime. Probably not.
Oh, they announced not announced, but they showed a gameplay trailer for Batman Arkham Shadow, which is a VR game that's set in Rocksteady's Arkham Batman universe.
The worst Batman universe.
I like those games.
I don't know. I can think of worse Batman universes.
Name one.
That last movie.
The Batman? With Robert Pattinson?
Terrible. Hated
the
everything
fucking best
about
Batman
that piece
movie
of
they
shit.
ever made.
What a
great
film.
fucking movie.
Ugh.
And only morons didn't like it.
I think that's all I had. Wait, what about that Amazon series that they showed a trailer for? It's got all those. It's like each episode is a different video.
Oh
game.
yeah. Called Secret Level. Amazon is releasing a show, I think next year. It is from the people that made Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, which was a fantastic little anthology show. And this
actually, Matt, quick correction. This actually releases on December 10th.
Oh, okay,
Ooh.
cool. And it's Prime, which is good for me because I don't subscribe to Netflix anymore. This is what I think is just an absolutely wild premise of it's an anthology animated series, and each episode is in a different video game universe. So we've got some Dungeons and Dragons, we've got some Mega Man, we've got some Pac-Man.
Okay.
There's Armored Core.
It sounds like Captain N.
I think Armored Core.
No, because it's not.
Ghost
They're
of
not.
Tsushima.
It's not like a. There's.
Isekai?
It's an anthology show, so each one is its own is in its own setting with the characters from those games. It's not like an isekai. It's not a Captain N. We've got The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, Warhammer 40K.
Oh, I think the Warhammer one will be cool.
Armored Core, and then a few games I haven't heard of. There's one that just says PlayStation, and it includes Kratos and Jin Sakai.
I would imagine like Astro Boy is going to be in that one. A lot of the PlayStation icons.
Sifu,
Astrobot.
Spelunky, Astrobot. Yeah.
I thought it was Astro. Oh, it is Astro.
Astro Boy's got the black hair and the spikes.
That's the manga.
Yeah, that's the manga. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I got to be honest, I'm going to fucking watch it. Like, I'm very interested in it. Also, you say Mega Man, and I'm fucking there.
Mega Man.
I love Mega Man.
You say Fat Mega Man, and I'm there.
I mean, like,
Mega Man.
Mega Man 1... Mega Man 1 cover art Mega Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it when he showed up in Street Fighter. That was so fucking
that was
good.
Great.
Well, that's probably enough hot gaming news. Without Vanessa here, we always go a lot faster, which is great because the quest log this week is just fucking a wall of text. I think this week we're going to have to mix it up. I cannot sit here and just talk for an hour straight again. I can't do it. I edited last week's episode and I was like, this is the most boring episode we've ever released. All right, anyway, why don't we dive into the level up segment of the show where we discussed how we leveled up, and I didn't do anything, I think. So why don't you kick us off, Jim?
I went to a wedding back in Kansas where I grew up. It was my nephew's wedding. The ceremony was in a barn that didn't have any air conditioning. It had like 100 people in the barn.
Oh, nice.
And it was very hot.
That sounds like a nightmare.
And a little uncomfortable, and they were playing a lot of country music, which I didn't like. But it was a beautiful ceremony, a beautiful wedding. Congratulations to my nephew for getting married. I have 5 siblings, and it was the first time more than 3 of us have all been in the same place in 15 years. So
how was that?
It was fine. It was fine.
Well, congratulations to Kaylee, Jim's twin, on finally getting married. We're all really proud of you. Jim has been talking about how you're an old maid that's never going to get married for 7 years now.
I say that all the time. And I went and saw Alien Romulus again. I took Amanda to go see it.
Well, I really wanted to go see that on Saturday, and then my boss told me I have to work.
Jeez.
I'll just echo my praise from last time. I think it's very good. Good game.
Yeah, you don't want to spoil it like our fucking
good movie, I guess. Yeah. Good movie. John, how did you level up?
Well, I watched the Batman show a little bit. I watched a few episodes. I like it. Remember, I was no, I've watched 4 episodes, I think. I was like, I don't know, should I watch this? And you all are like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, I did anyways. And I thought it was good. If that movie, what's his name, Matt
Reeves.
Yeah.
The best Batman movie you're talking about. The Batman starring
If it had been this, I would have really liked it because it's got a cool setting.
I do really
characters.
wonder if this is... I think I said this last week, but I wondered if that was not kind of like what he really wanted to do.
Yeah. I would have loved that if it was like this. Cause,
I agree.
Yeah, this is super cool. It's kind of...
I'm going to have to check that out.
It's 30s, Art Deco, really cool cars. The villains are really neat. I like the voice actors a lot. I like Paul Shears. That was pretty fun.
I remember that he's in it, but I can't remember who he plays.
He plays both sons of Oswalda. It's Cobblepot. The most Vanessa character since Ursula from...
God, I've seen so much complaining
Little
about
Mermaid?
that from the stupidest fucking people on the earth that don't... let me explain something to you all. If you somehow you're listening to this and you're against things like gender swapping characters and changing things, that's how these things have lasted for 70, 80 years, is by trying new things. That's how it works. And some of it'll stick, and some of it won't. Probably Oswalda Cobblepot will not make it into the fucking mainline Batman comics, but
No,
like...
I don't think so. But she's great.
If you just want it to stay the same forever, it's going to die. That's what's going to happen.
Putty Face Guy, was that Darkman? Is that a DC comic?
No.
Okay. Because that was based on a comic, right?
Clayface.
Image comic?
Clayface is a Batman villain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You fight Clayface in Batman Arkham City, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like you did not watch the excellent Harley Quinn episode, and I would like to hear you.
No, I mean, she's showed up so far, and I like her showing up. She was.
No, that's, if you watch, she's episode 5 is her big episode.
Oh, okay. I like her just as his psychiatrist. I think that's fun.
Yeah, it's such a more interesting take on that character than we have gotten in the past.
Yeah,
and I love Harley Quinn. It's not even like I like the Batman animated series Harley Quinn, the Margot Robbie Harley Quinn, the Harley Quinn fucking HBO Max show that I've watched all of. Like I like Harley Quinn, but
have you heard of the 1% Club? Either of you?
I don't think so.
It is
the 1% Club.
Yeah, it's a show. It's like a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire kind of show, hosted by Patton Oswalt on Amazon Prime, and you can play along at home with their app that like plays like once you sync it to the show, it plays along, and you get to answer the questions and see how you do. Basically each question, it starts with a question that like 90% of the population should be able to get the answer to, and then 80, and then 70, and then 60, and then it like starts getting like 5% after you go. I think it's after you hit 50, it starts going down by 5% as the questions get harder and harder. And they don't require previous knowledge. They're not trivia. They're logic, math and logic, basically. And so it's got like an audience of 100 and something people, and as they start dropping out, the money that each contestant has $1,000, and that money gets added to the pool, and you see how far you'd make it by playing along with the app. And I've only played one episode, but I did get to 35%, something like that.
Oh, what are you playing that on?
I watch it on Prime. It's on Prime Video, and it's a phone app.
Oh, okay. It's a game show.
Yeah, it's a game show on Prime Video.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's neat. Except that I do find the banter, because you're playing along, you're like, okay, I don't care about this. Keep going. Like, I want the next question. I don't want to hear Patton Oswalt make terrible jokes. I feel that part of it doesn't work very well. And his jokes are very bad. But I've only seen the first episode. But it's a neat premise, and I would like to play more. It's definitely a fun little gimmick game.
That's cool.
So it's a game or a show? I'm confused.
Oh, it's both. It's a game show, like a TV game show, but you can play along, and I like that part.
Okay. That reminds me of, and I'm sure we've talked about it before, but that old, was it on the
One
Wii?
versus
It
100?
was the Xbox. One versus 100. I fucking love that thing.
It's a lot like that. So definitely something. Yeah, I wish it had prizes and stuff like 1 versus 100 did if you're playing it live, but it doesn't have that. But I thought that was really neat. I thought it was a cool way to do things. I also played. Oh yeah, so I got the the PSVR box, which I finally played and set up. Now I don't know if you've seen news reports that a lot of people had problems with it, but I think if you.
Oh really?
Yeah, because like if you have
yeah, right. It's coming alive and killing people's families.
Yeah, it's
and,
like a
sucking
Chucky.
people into like a virtual world that's actually the devil's.
And if you die in the game,
it's like Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
I was thinking
you become a cyber god.
I was thinking more Stay Tuned than Lawnmower Man, but okay.
Lawnmower Man is a guy gets sucked into VR pretty much.
But yeah, if you die in the game, basically you die in real life. So that's one problem with the device, that it does have these like pins that will insert into your skull if you die.
Oh, yeah. Well, that you got to deduct at least 1 star for that.
Yeah. But it worked perfectly for me once the only thing was that it's when I started playing Half-Life Alyx, it was playing on like max settings and max resolution, and so I had to turn that down. It didn't give you like a choice to set up before I started, so I've sort of set lower resolution on the VR thing so that it runs smoothly, because I wanted to run 120 frames per second. And Half-Life Alyx is crazy. It's so good. Like, picking up things feels... sorry for this, Matt. I know VR talk, you don't like it. I will try to be brief. But you can pick up stuff and throw it, and it feels so natural doing it, and it's really fun. Really? Like, any object, you can just whip things at people. And
oh man, I want to do that so bad.
And there's one point where a door opens and you have to put your hands up because you're being arrested. And I was doing, and my living room is not big enough to do room scale for PS5. It has a stupidly huge minimum size.
It does. It really does.
But for this, the PC version lets you do any size you want, so you can have a pretty small room scale. So I can walk around. Yeah. Like, you can walk around a room in Half-Life. It's neat. It's so cool.
That is neat.
And yeah, just walking around and picking stuff up. You can pick up a pen and start drawing on windows and things.
Was the adapter, was it hard to figure all that stuff out, or is it pretty plug and play?
It was pretty, I think it depends on how good your Bluetooth adapter is. Like mine came with like an external, I can't really show it to you, but an external antenna. And I think if you have something like that, it's good. But if it's one of those with like a little teeny tiny internal antenna, you might have problems reading the devices properly. But mine just set up right away. Like I didn't have any issues. I do want to get a charger for the 2 VR handsets because they're so annoying to plug into PS5 and charge.
Oh yeah, it's super. Yeah, you can't if they need to be charged, you can't play it.
Yeah. So I do want to get one of those. Also, I played a couple of things on PC. I got Skyrim VR, which right away you have to buy a separate game, which seems like such bullshit. Why is it a separate game? I own Skyrim on PC, but they're like, no, this is Skyrim VR, and it's terrible. It is.
It's terrible?
Awful. It's so bad. And like I'm sitting down so the game makes me 3 feet high. And like when you're on the cart, it's just everyone's staring at you all the time, and it feels so unnatural and weird. Like their eyes are following you all around, and
that is weird.
And because it doesn't want you to vomit, like the scenes where you put your head onto the block, it's not smooth. It like keeps strobing in and out as to what you're doing, and then my head clipped through the chopping block that you put your head on at the beginning of the game because the game thinks I'm 3 feet tall.
You said you were going to keep this short.
I'm just talking. Okay. So in the end, probably don't buy Skyrim VR. I just thought it'd be neat to play Skyrim in VR, and I'm going to give it another shot. Maybe playing it standing up will be better. Definitely play Half-Life Alyx standing up if you can, because that's quite the experience. Anyway, so Matt, are you sure you don't want to level up?
Well, I didn't say I wouldn't level up. Well, I finished that Batman show. I did like it. Vanessa and I kind of spoke too soon in that shortly after where we had both left off, we did get like a few Bruce Wayne heavy episodes, and I realized that I don't love the voice actor that's playing Bruce Wayne. I can't remember the actor's name. It's the guy from Midnight Mass. The
Hamish
the priest.
Something?
Oh, Hamish Linklater.
I just don't care for him as Batman, but that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Overall, great show. We'll discuss it on the bonus this month, but I did play Thank Goodness You're Here, and I thought it was fucking fantastic. I played it with my daughter, and there was a scene that she laughed at so hard for 10 straight minutes that we had to take a break. She was in tears. She was laughing so hard. So that was pretty cool. She kind of wandered off by the end, but it went a little long, but I thought. But it was great. I'm glad I played it. It was fantastic.
I love its use of FMV. I mean, we'll talk about it more in the bonus, but I love that it's the old-timey England stuff.
I played some. This is not a new game, but we also played some Fibbage with the fam, and that was a pretty good time, actually. Fibbage 4, one of the Jackboxes, only one of them, but one of the Jackboxes is on the PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
And it had Fibbage 4 in it. And the family and I, we all kind of sat around the TV and played it together, and the kids were, one more round. They were having a blast. The challenge is back. I know that we have a couple of listeners that like to watch it. Challenge Season 40 is back, and they did something I don't think they've ever done before, at least not that I can recall, where their first episode they set up how they were going to eliminate, all these contestants, and then the second episode was just all elimination rounds for like an hour and a half. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of too much, because by the end I was like barely paying attention. I was like, oh, God, another one. This works better 1 week, and once a week. I guess that's it. Like, I legitimately am working like 65 to 70 hours a week right now, and that's a bummer. Watch anything else? No? All right. Well, I guess that's it for me. I'm pretty boring these days. Pretty boring right now. That's okay.
Plug time.
Yeah, plug time. Guess what?
What?
Bears in Games Neo dropped a hot new
The longest one ever.
The longest one ever. It was fantastic. I watched it, and then I watched it again because you had to re-upload it with different stuff in it.
Yeah, I had to remove.
Watch it a second time.
I had a clip. I knew WWE was problematic because they do a lot of takedown requests, but I didn't know it was cropped and it was 6 seconds long. I had a clip of Donald Trump getting a Stone Cold Stunner. I
bet people try to use that clip all the fucking time.
At that point, it should it's so. There's a word of it being in the public interest because it is a president that to the point where it's they kind of should be letting people use it. It's
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what was funny about that, you using that clip is, I'm sure I've seen it before, but I've never really thought about it. Watching it, he can't even take a fucking Stone Cold Stunner right. He can't even do that right. That guy's so fucking inept at everything. It's the easiest thing. The man wraps your neck up, and then you fall on your back, and he cradles your head. All right? I guarantee you, I'm not saying I could nail it. I could nail it. But if Stone Cold Steve Austin was like, I'm going to do a Stone Cold Stunner to you, I bet I could do a pretty decent fucking job. And I'll tell you what, that Donald Trump practiced that ahead of time, and he still just completely fucking biffs it. Completely fucking biffs it.
So I did use
joke. What an embarrassment.
The backup idea I had was just the
Home Alone
2, which isn't. It's neutral. I would say that's a politically neutral take on Trump.
I'm sure you should have done his Ghost Can't Do It. A clip from Ghost Can't Do It that he has a cameo in.
Oh. I always, I've said this before, but every time something crazy happens to Trump, within a couple of days, you'll get an article that's first Home Alone 2 star that somebody tried to assassinate. It always fucking makes me laugh so hard. That's all this guy did was be in that movie.
And I'm working on a couple of shorter little video ideas just to get some more stuff on there. The next open world game I'm going to do is The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh, hell yeah. I don't think I ever really played that. I'm very interested.
That game.
I got to turn blur off.
That game is super fun.
It was $60.
Yeah, it's one of those games that people Yeah. It's one of the it's one of those games people grew up with and they love it.
I really enjoyed your Grand Theft Auto 3 video. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy your deep dives into a lot of the background stuff that I don't know and I'm never gonna know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
What do you think of that GTA 2 movie?
Oh, man. And I also remember playing a little bit of GTA 1 or 2, the original, and being like, this sucks. Why do people like this? Because you can run over fucking monks or whatever? Jeez.
It
was neat to see
I liked it back in the day.
It was neat to see it's neat how you go back into that stuff and don't just talk about the thing at hand. I thought it was an excellent video. Absolutely excellent. And,
There's also a stream. I don't know if Phantasy Star 1 was the best choice for a stream. There's good and bad to it. I think it does allow a lot of room for talking because there's a lot of dungeons.
A lot of dungeons.
I think that's okay. I think that people are coming to this stream more just to like chit chat with us and to kind of get a live Square Root style experience, and the game I think is kind of less important. So I think it's a fine choice. It's got some good music, and there's good animation and stuff that lets us.
I like
get
that.
into it, but I will say, like,
little man we had to fight.
I get a little lost in the dungeons. Like, that's kind of the big flaw of that game, is those dungeons are just like shitty corridor mazes.
The auto map is pretty invaluable in this version.
Oh, for sure. I couldn't play it without an auto map. I mean, I haven't played it. I won't play it, but I couldn't play it without an auto map. I guess I still keep saying I'm going to put a vote up, and I keep forgetting to do it. I was thinking Secret of Mana, Link to the Past, maybe Terranigma, and then I thought maybe I should do like a weird JRPG that we've never done before list instead, like Terranigma, Illusion of Gaia. What's the other secret? Secret of Evermore.
I like Secret of Evermore.
I liked that game a lot. Maybe I'll do that instead. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Iconic cover art for that game.
I was disappointed in it just because I thought it was going to be 2 players or 3 players like Secret of Mana, and it is not.
Yeah, I was disappointed because I thought it was going to be like more like a sequel to Secret of Mana, and it's not. It's just kind of its own.
Yeah,
and it has, and it's like an isekai kind of thing, and especially like a kid character isekai is for me death. It is game death of having any interest in playing like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, where it's like, oh, Final Fantasy is a storybook and you get to go inside the storybook with your friends. Fuck off. I want
So you didn't like World of Final Fantasy, where you're like in Final Fantasy world?
You know, World of Final Fantasy is like a fun game, but yeah, the setting part of it really sucks, and the story is just bland nonsense. I couldn't finish that.
One of my secrets, I don't know if I've ever told you guys, but I played like 20 hours of that game a couple of years ago.
I played a bunch of it.
I didn't like it.
I thought,
but I still played like 20 hours of it. So.
Didn't Matt play that when it came out?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was fine. It's just like I said, like it wasn't enough to. It didn't have a good enough like story or whatever to like really get me to hook me long enough. But like gameplay wise, it was a fun game. It was a decent game. But yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is the shittiest fucking sequel to a game ever. Like, it's funny because like some people really like it, and like I can almost like see it where I'm like, okay, you know, like I can almost see it because the gameplay's the same basically, other than that judge shit which sucks. But like the fact that it's a sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics and that it's got such a shitty nonsense plot just completely ruins it for me.
And I get annoyed that people are like, no, this plot's actually good and for adults because, like, this one kid's sad because he's handicapped in reality and wants to stay in there because he can walk. And, like, okay, I mean, stuff aimed at kids can have dark themes. This feels like not even a YA. This feels like a kid's novel. Like, and having dark themes doesn't make it not feel like something aimed at kids. Look at Labyrinth or Return to Oz with Firuza Balk.
Labyrinth is an amazing movie, and so is Return to Oz.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying they're aimed at kids. They have a, complicated.
Sure, I mean, look at Coraline. Plot. Coraline's both of my kids, one of their favorite movies, and I mean, it's based on a Neil Gaiman book, so not shocking that it's excellent. But very dark themes about family and death and fucking what a good movie.
All right.
Hey, we kind of talked around it. We have a stream. Please come check it out. YouTube, Square Roots Podcast. We're doing weekly streams right now. Johnny is playing Phantasy Star 1. I have no idea how many episodes are left. After that, I will be playing something. I'm not looking forward to being the one that plays. It's kind of the worst part of streaming.
I'll do it. I enjoyed playing.
You'll play some horror bullshit. But we are streaming.
He's
and,
right.
We're having a good time. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. ish. We're usually setting up at 8 p.m. and maybe 8:15 ish, but 8 p.m. Eastern. We're doing a Square Word stream, and it's a good time. Come join us in the chat. We are very active with the chat. You know, it's a little stream, so it's still fun, and not one of those streams where the chat's just flying by 100 miles a minute, and we have to pay a moderator to censor out the slurs and bots and advertisers. Come check out the stream. And with no further ado, Johnny, sing me the quest log song.
It's a quest log. Quest log. You know, I had a dream. Speaking of DreamCast, I had a dream last night that I was kicked out of a big fancy party at a mansion because I was walking around making up Beastie Boy lyrics. So let's see. We're going to the quest log because the quest log's great. We're going to
drink
log.
all night and we're gonna ejaculate. Boom! I fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Aww.
I was better at freestyling Beastie Boy lyrics in my dream.
You should do it on stream.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taking melatonin to help me fall asleep at night because I'm back to getting up at 6 a.m. to get my daughter to high school on time because it starts at 7 a.m. because Florida fucking sucks. Mm-hmm. And it does give me weird, vivid dreams. I don't like it.
I sent Jalen a TikTok earlier that said the caption was "When I take melatonin before I go to sleep," and it was a clip of that scene in Mac and Me when he when like the van explodes and the kid's like passed out in his wheelchair and the cops are shooting at the aliens.
You can cut this. Probably it's nothing, but God, I ran into the weirdest fucking Reddit thread recently where some guy was like losing his mind. He posted it to like a millennial sub and not like a advice sub. But which was weird because he was a millennial, so he's like, I thought I'd talk to my fellow millennials about this. He was losing his mind and was like talking about trying to take his kids away from his ex because she drove them to school after taking some melatonin. He was like this guy clearly thought that it was like fucking Ambien and not just like something that kind of relaxes you a little. It was the weirdest. And then, of course, like every comment was like, bro, calm the fuck down. You are acting like a moron. And this guy just losing his mind on everybody that disagreed with him.
Your favorite Final Fantasy
was
shouldn't
acting like
be
she was
8.
higher on heroin.
There, I made a follow-up line.
It should not. It's not good.
Well.
But everyone is welcome. I don't discriminate. You're supposed to like.
Hey, John,
there you go.
John, when you freestyle rap, you typically don't get like 3 or 4 minutes in between verses to think it through.
But I have to think of come up with the words.
My friend, I'll tell you what. My friend Michael had some good advice on trying to rhyme, and it was to whatever word you're next thinking of, to make that the second verse, the ending line.
That is good
and
advice.
Force yourself to come up with the rhyme right,
like the
rhyme right away, because otherwise you end up saying the first word and then whoa,
yeah,
or sitting there for 10 minutes while we talk about our dreams.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Side note, John.
Yeah,
I know. I bet I can already kind of guess this, but I'm still gonna ask it. I'm kind of curious. Tim Walls. What's the scale of bear hotness?
He's fine.
This is the answer I expected. That's exactly the answer I expected.
He gives you like nice dad vibes.
He is exactly
He
the same
looks
age
like
as Kamala,
every-
and he looks so much older.
How old is he?
He looks like every
The same age as
Midwestern
Kamala. They're both
old white
59 or
man.
60, I think.
Oh wow, that old.
Yeah, there's both 60. Yeah. Yeah, he looks like every old Midwestern white dude.
I wouldn't know. I've never been to the Midwest. Somebody's never invited me.
Wow.
I invited you on air a couple weeks ago.
I'm busy. I'm working. Maybe in a year I'll be
What
less
was
busy.
the trip
We'll
that we all? Oh, it was Jim's family trip to. Was it Jim or Matt's family trip to
Oh, it's my family trip to Orlando in February.
No, we all invited ourselves along to someone going to Casa Bonita. Can't remember if that was you or Matt.
Oh no, that was
Okay,
me.
yeah, we're all inviting ourselves along to that.
We're all going to Casa. I did actually put myself on the wait list for that.
I really do want to go to Colorado.
I loved it. I love living there.
Amanda's going to Colorado like next week.
Wow. Congratulations.
Hang out with Owen.
Amanda.
What?
Hang out with Owen.
Yeah. I think she's going to she's going to Longmont.
I think that your girlfriend that doesn't really listen to the podcast or participate in any of our like chats or streams, which is fair, and that's not a judgment in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I encourage her decision.
Yeah, I feel like it would be weird to date someone
she's never met before.
It would.
I meant
You
Jim.
feel like it would be
Sorry,
weird
Matt,
to
what
what?
Date someone that listens to the podcast and be like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would.
I don't want that.
All right, let's get into this fucking quest log.
How about we all trade off
an hour and a half of fucking gameplay time?
Yeah.
I have a wall of text here, and I'm really upset about it.
It's really not that bad. It's really not that bad.
All right, I'll kick us off with
let's trade off. We can all
these are
trade off
broken
doing
into
little
sections.
chunkers.
The chunker starts. We are back at Almorica Castle, which is where Duke Ronwey is. Denham, our main character, Leonard, and Lancelot, the good Lancelot, meet with Duke Ronwey and are told that
That's the
he's
wrong
like,
way.
I'd love to let you hang out, but you got to go do this right now.
I'm gonna
and
shoot
he tells
your
us-
dad.
We have to what?
I'm singing the wrong way.
We're told Duke Ronwey tells us that we have to accompany Leonard to Fadak Castle, which is a Bakram holding, where the Dark Knights are located. And he wants us to get them to agree to a treaty of non-interference, the Dark Knights, but not Bakram, which he specifies. Bakram or the Dark Knights are like a military group associated with Bakram, but they don't seem to like Bakram very much. And we want to attack the Galgastani and not have the Dark Knights attack us. And we're not worried about the Bakram attacking us because the Bakram are all fat, lazy slobs, basically. It's what the Duke says. So he wants us to go work out this treaty before we go actually take the fight to the Galgastani. I think the Galgastani are essentially like an occupying force in this. I guess Almorica. I'm having a real tough time.
I think so.
Keeping track. They also mentioned Lotus a bunch, and I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Lotus?
But
like
Katua,
record of Lotus War?
I feel like sometimes the game will be like, this is what you need to do, and then the next thing you do is you go do it. But other times it'll be like, this is what you need to do, and then the next fight will be like some random person out in a field somewhere.
Well, you tend to. I mean, it is you. Yes, that happens all the time, and it's because you tend to be going somewhere, and it's not like it's right next door. So along the way, you'll run into other fights.
Okay.
Katua, Denham's sister, does not like this because the Dark Knights killed our parents. And Ronwey also discusses with
the
Vice
wrong way.
that that he's also going to like make a treaty or swear an oath of allegiance to Lotus. I legitimately don't know who the fuck that is. While they fight the Galgastani, but he also pretty heavily implies, or almost outright says, like, but only until we handle the Galgastani, and then we'll also turn on Lotus. So this Duke Ronwey guy seems kind of like a piece of shit.
Yeah. Nice beard.
This is the guy that we rescued last week. He was being held captive at Almorica Castle, and we went and killed all the bad guys. And
I would say that the one thing Triangle Strategy does better is it makes its beefy boys really beefy.
I'm sorry, so
Triangle
Strategy does that? Or
Yeah.
this does that?
No, Triangle Strategy does that because this guy's got like beefy character art, but then his sprite's like a little tiny guy.
They're all the exact same size.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
But it's funny, for their beefy boys, it makes them double 2 spaces wide.
That's funny. I really want to play triangle strategy, but now that we're doing this, it'll be another year.
Yeah, I don't
before I'm
think
in
you
the mood
want to.
for one of these games.
You don't want to
Yeah.
chase,
No, I
unless
can't
you
do.
still are in the mood for more. In which case, sure. But if you're
I'm-
burnt out, then no.
I already have barely played this game in a fucking month because I'm so far ahead of the show. Anyway, so we take off. We are heading to.
We are
Fidoc
going
Castle.
to the Golborza. Wait, we're not going to the Golborza plane?
Well, we're going to Fidoc Castle, but it's not. Again, it's not next door, and there are
That's
things
true.
in between.
That's true. How about
And the
I
next
take
place
over
we stop is the Galborza plane. Please,
I'll take
Jeff, Tell
over.
us what happens.
and tell you about the Golborza plane. We run into some Galgastani troops. So is Denim is what I called Gastophone, right? Is Denim
What do you mean?
Is Denim your guy?
Is he like the main character? Is that
Yeah,
the
I think
protagonist?
that's his
Denim
name.
is
You're
the
asking?
main
Yeah.
character.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the main
So
character.
Gastophone. He tries to convince them to flee, but they refuse, and you fight. The enemy leader is Brezin, who implies the Wallister started the war in Almorica before he dies. I don't know if that's true. The Wallister being what your ethnic group is, and what the Duke Ronwey is the leader of, or like unofficial leader of. I guess official.
No, like the Duke is the leader of like a larger group that the Wallister are a part of.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the Wallister are like a clan.
According to the Wikipedia, they're an ethnic group.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But I guess that is a
yeah,
clan.
we run into some Galgastani troops, and I felt like Brezin the leader did. I mean, maybe he was just talking shit, but like, there's a lot of like back and forth between the characters where they're like, you know, they're Galgastani, like you invaded us, or like you did this, and you know, life is hell because of you, and he's like, the Wallisters fucking started this, motherfucker. We had, what he says, I think, is like, we had peace until the Wallisters rebellion or something like that.
But we're the Wallisters?
Denim is a
right?
Wallister, yes.
Yeah, okay. We're the Wallisters. The Galgastani seem like they're the occupying force. And then who's the other ones? The Bakram? Are they good or bad?
There's no good or bad.
Everyone's bad, yeah. The Bakram are, yeah, the Galgastani are the like main people we're fighting against right now, but we also hate the Bakram and are planning on taking the fight to them as soon as we're done with the Galgastani.
Got it. That makes sense now. Okay.
I will say there's several beefy boys in this chunker, including Tomasius Brezin, who is a Galgastani. He kind of has he has like a horny helmet and an axe.
Yeah, he's a Beastmaster. No, he's Berserker. That's the Berserker.
Because you can get the Berserker card from him, I believe.
Yeah, the Berserker's great. They hit really hard, though. I do have a problem with the Berserkers have an ability where like every once in a while they'll be able to hit like in a circle around them instead of just the person in front of them.
Oh, cool!
But it's fantastic. It hits really hard. And it's amazing if you can catch a group of enemies.
So that's one of the ones where you have to
like
save up TP to do, right?
No, that'll just automatically trigger. You do not need toilet paper to make that happen.
Oh, okay.
It'll just automatically. It's one of those skills you can equip that will automatically trigger, and when it triggers, you can use it. But I do find that I kind of rarely can use it. Where it'll trigger, and then I have to be like, well, I guess I can't attack with this guy this turn because there's nobody I can hit where I won't hit half of my own guys.
The only one I've used so far is the one which makes your arrows do like double damage and 100% accuracy. That one's pretty great.
Oh yeah, I like is it Big Impact?
Yeah, I think
or
that's
whatever
yeah,
that you
that
can
one.
give.
Dark Impact is the archer one, yeah.
Yeah.
Archers fucking suck, and I ditched them as quickly as I could.
Are you kidding? I like the archers.
Yeah, all of your enemies have 1 HP, so that makes sense. Why don't you?
No, I turned that off for a couple of these battles.
Oh, a couple. Battles. They do so little damage. They're equivalent to the mages, where like they can hit from far away, but they don't do much in the way of damage, other than their big attacks, like dark.
But if I have multiple archers, like I recruited some Valkyries from the shop, and I gave them good bows, and then I had like 3 of them, and they would just go forward as far as possible, but still be far away because they were archers. And I could, if I was using all 3 of them, I could do a lot of damage to like one.
I like having the Valkyries
usually kill them in a couple rounds.
The big spear though. Because that can hit 2 people in a row if you get them lined up.
Yeah, and Valkyries.
I always gave them archers, or gave them bows.
Valkyrie, the spear. I use the spear as well. It's really handy. Valkyries also can use like some magic, which is handy for when you just kind of want to do like when you can't.
You can put some heals on them.
Yeah, yep. You can put heal on them, which is also pretty handy. I mean, at this point, I always have Donatello in my party to heal me because you gotta fucking have a healer. You do get some good. You can get some pretty good healing items later. So you don't necessarily need the cleric forever, but I still keep them around. It's just handy.
Mm-hmm. So after you defeat Brezin, you head on to the How do you say this? Archaeopolis of Rhyme?
I have no idea, but I feel like it's Jim's turn to read a chunker.
The Archaeopolis of Rhyme. We come upon a troop of Gongastani men surrounding a woman whose name is Sistani. I don't remember.
Yeah, she's being attacked.
Oh, I do remember
You
this.
have the option to say, I will save you, and it's game over if she dies. Or be like, she's not our problem.
That did happen to me, and so on this one, I tried to use the all enemies have 1 HP mod, but but it's not just enemies; it's everyone that's not in your party.
Oh,
so she had 1 HP, and she was immediately killed like in the first round.
And there's like little dragon buddies that are after her, and this is I like this fight. I thought this was great because it's got like a cool level
one thing
layout.
I like about most of these fights is it's like you just need to kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it becomes less about clearing the field, and it's more like that to me is a more interesting strategy element. It's like it's not how am I going to clear the field. It's like how do I work my loadout in a way that's going to do that most efficiently, and I like playing the game like that.
I'll say there's a boss fight around the beginning of chapter 3 where I had to pull out a bunch of dragons that I had recruited just to like give me some space to get that one dude.
Yeah.
There was one fight. The last fight of the chunker, I think, is the only one where I thought it was just defeating the one person, but I had to like clear the entire field for some reason. I was really annoyed by that. So yeah, this is tough because she gets like picked on immediately. So you kind of have to start moving your healers towards her.
Yeah.
And actually, I found, at least in the PSP version, if you start moving the healers towards her, your healers attract way more attention than she does.
Yes.
And they'll start going after your healers, which is fine.
Are you guys using the AI? Oh, sorry.
I keep Canopus loaded up with healing items, and anytime there's one of these like save somebody fights, because he's got the longest range and can jump and fly wherever he wants, I always send him straight to them and just have him sit there and fucking heal them, basically. Keep him alive until I can get there.
I have a question about items because I haven't used any yet. When you put them in your inventory, is that single use?
Yes. You can only equip 4 items.
So you can only use it once.
It will re-equip the items after you use them if you have more in your bag.
Oh, weird. Okay, so the version I play doesn't have individual character inventory. So like you're just pulling it out of like the group. So you never have to equip items. They're always just there.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And this one, everyone's got 4 inventory slots. Yeah. So one of the I guess like to that point, one of the things I don't like is having to go in and manually equip every single thing on every single character.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Like every single time.
So it will re-equip them if you have more. And what I
Right.
suggest is just doing some stuff, like selling a bunch of stuff, getting a bunch of money, and then just loading the fuck up on this
Yeah, because
stuff
you
so
get all
don't have
that
to
loot
think
that
about
you
it.
don't need. It's usually kind of like outdated items, so just sell that crap right away.
Yep. And you definitely, I will, like at the beginning here, the healing items you can buy are trash.
Mm-hmm.
They do not do enough. But I think pretty quickly you get better and better stuff.
Oh, that's
also,
crazy.
check out the crafting section. When that opens up, you can buy recipe books. I always now craft up all of my weapons to, +1 and all my armor. And you'll get, if you...
Wait, how do you do that?
There's a crafting section when you're at, like, stores. Again, we're in chapter 1, so it might not be available.
Yeah,
yet.
I haven't explored a lot. I mean, I've spent some time at the store because I gave myself 8 million goth. And I was just looking through the store a little bit. I didn't see it, but maybe I just missed
Oh,
it.
Jim,
Yeah,
you forgot
once you
to
get
level
the
up
ability-
about your new friend.
My new friend
Yeah.
who's my guest?
Yeah,
here?
your guest standing over your shoulder.
Yeah, his name is Hank Hill. I have a life-size Hank Hill cardboard cutout that I ordered from the Hulu website. And he's not actually supposed to be standing there. I actually set him up in the other room in my basement. But I moved him over here because I was vacuuming this morning. So he's been right behind me on all of my Zoom calls for work today.
I always feel like, because I have an energy drink in the morning while I walk around with my cat outside. And I feel, because I'm hanging out in the alley with my cat holding a drink, I feel very Hank Hilly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Even if it's just an energy
that sounds
drink.
like pretty cool thing to do.
Oh, I like walking around with my cat. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. But yeah, that's Hank. Actually, like I said, I have him in the other room generally, and I just set him up on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like every time I walk into that room, whether I'm walking into it or leaving it, I see it looks like just there's another person in the room with me standing in the corner, and it scares me every single time.
Yeah, definitely don't start trying to deliberately scare, say, Amanda by placing it in the bathroom or whatever.
You know, it's funny. She came down here the other day while I was working, and we were talking, and then she went to leave, and she walked into that room, and she's like, "Oh my god!" she's like, "Hank just scared me."
Anyway, back to the
Anyways.
Archaeopolis of
Yeah.
Rhyme. So this one's got like a descending staircase. I love that they're really using depth a lot in this.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So like one of the things I found interesting / frustrating is that if they're like 3 squares up from you, and even if they're technically within range of your
Archers?
bow and arrow, they're your archers. If there's an obstruction there, they won't hit.
I
the
like
target.
that though. Like it's realistic.
Yeah.
Like you can't shoot through a fucking building. You can't.
Yeah.
And
jump
also,
20
I think
feet in the
if you're
air.
shooting in the rain, I know the rain reduces range, and sometimes you
Does
if you're
it?
shooting up, yeah, it does. And if you're shooting, or at least maybe not range, but like accuracy. And a lot of times, if you're trying to shoot up a thing, your arrow won't make it. And I don't know if that's
Yeah, it won't make it there.
I find that interesting.
I think that
me too.
this game has maps very similar to the Final Fantasy Tactics games, and there's several other games like this of this era that I really this is the kind of the perfect style of this game to me, like versus something like say Shining Force or Fire Emblem, where it's all just kind of a flat map, and I really it's weird. I can never really get into those games, but just adding the depth here always hooks me. Like I really fucking love this. Like you've got to really move around, and you can bottleneck, and I know you can do that in other stuff. Don't get me wrong, Fire Emblem and Shining Force, you can bottleneck, but like the depth is it's not a lot, but it takes this
And you
whole,
can
like,
knock
gameplay style to
characters
the next
off
level
of
for
things,
me.
although it doesn't seem like they take fall damage.
All right, hey Jim, you read the first sentence of your chunk and then you stopped.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Well,
We're talking about who Sistani was.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go back Let's see. So we saved the lady, and she's a warrior with the Liberation Front who is scouting the Galgastani, something we do a lot, in preparation for a raid. Vice thinks the Liberation Front are a bunch of wieners.
Yep.
And he doesn't like them.
Who doesn't he think are wieners?
I
know
sucks.
he's kind of a dick.
She is like adamantly opposed to everything he says. She's like, we're not like that. We're all about like peace and like fucking stopping all these wars. And he's like, fuck you, bitch. Like, for real.
You know, it's really interesting. It feels like every one of these parties, like the Galgastani, now that you say that, Matt, like the Galgastani and the Bakram, they all like hate each other's resistances to their insurgencies.
Yeah.
like they all like blame the other party.
Yeah. Well, I think Leonor, even Leonor is on Vice's side here and is like, oh, their methods are disgusting. Like they don't care who they kill, and she's like, that's not true. So Stani is one of these characters where you can save her here, you can't recruit her here, but depending on the choices you make later on, you can recruit her later.
Oh, what class is she?
I have no idea.
I think she's a warrior. She's either a war. She might be.
Oh, well,
Knight,
yeah, it
maybe.
says warrior here in the notes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, you get a couple dialogue choices, but she leaves regardless.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, she's like, I'm out. I did not expect her to leave. I was like, oh, we ran into another like non-enemy character in the field. That's like up to this point, I think you've recruited everyone that you've met.
She just to clarify, she does not just say I'm out. Like Leonar's like, you may fucking leave. he's a real dick. So after that, we make it to Phydoc Castle, where we meet with the Dark Knights. Initially, it's I can't remember his name. It's something with a B, Bakabakaba or something. And he, we talk to him. We lay out the details of what we want, which is like we don't want like a treaty. We just want like a non-aggression pact where like we're gonna go fight the Galgastani, and we would not like you to kill us from behind, basically. And the knight tells us like He kind of complains about, I said this earlier, they're part of the Bakram faction, but he complains about the Bakram. He's like, oh, yeah, you Wallisers or whatever he says, you guys are like honorable and like you want to like face your enemy head on, unlike the Bakram, our people, the Bakram, who are all lazy and send people to do their dirty work like us. But he won't make the treaty. He says, I have to talk to my leader. And that's when Lancelot walks in. This is the one-eyed Lancelot that we thought we were attacking in the very first.
Oh, that's right. That's why he reacted like Lancelot when he said that his name is Lancelot.
Yeah. This is the actual Lancelot that we thought we were going to attack at the beginning of the game. The one-eyed Lancelot of the Dark Knights. And he does agree to the treaty. He's down there. He's into it. Like he agrees, but he sees Denim and Katua and Vice, and he's like, you look familiar. And Katua kind of like gives up the ghost and is like, yeah, well, do you remember Goliath? Do you remember the blood and the rain and you slaughtering a bunch of people? Leonar's there, and he's like, shut the fuck up. Know your place, wench.
Lancelot says he says he remembers it and that they burnt the village by accident.
Yeah,
or like it was like it was like, oh, it was kind of a goof.
Man, like I don't know, Jim. Like this is some real stuff though. Like how many times did the United States of America do this in like Iraq and Afghanistan?
And Lancelot
cops to it. He's like, we were given bad information. We were told that the rebellion was hiding out there. We went, we burnt the town, and we found out later that our information was wrong. And he apologizes.
Did you get mad at him, or were you diplomatic?
I got mad at him. I was like, why are we making treaties with our fucking enemy? I want to kill this dude. Though part of me, it was a tough decision for me because, like, I don't know. I understand. I tried to play it from Denim's perspective of, like, this person killed my family and all the families of all the people I know. And fuck him, I hate him, and I want him to die. But at the same time, like, he cops to his mistake. Like, he does not seem like a huge piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
definitely like a
I'm not
murderer
really sure
and
what
shit.
to make of his character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he sucks, but not any more than anyone else that we've met in the game.
Well, and at this point, like, Denim and Katya, they're so fucking naive, and like they're that JRPG protagonist of like, I'll never do wrong, which, you know, I think as a story perspective is a good perspective, because that's what we all want to believe about ourselves. But, you know, how many times in history has real life shown us that, like, people make these terrible decisions and do this horrible shit, and it just...
Yeah, that adds an interesting dimension to the game, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is going for more of like a true to life countries at war style plot.
Yeah, because from his like character model, you kind of expect him to be like the like a Kefka, like the cackling JRPG
mustache
villain.
villain.
Yeah, but he's not. It's just another dude.
Yeah, he apologized. He's like, I'm sorry. I know that doesn't make a difference, but I am sorry. Like, we made a mistake, and so we leave with the treaty secured. Mm-hmm. And then that takes us back to Almorca Castle, which Johnny's going to talk about.
Yeah, we're really castle hopping.
Yeah, we're just going from castle to castle. So Duke Ronwey is like, hey, it was great that you put aside your personal feelings and didn't yell at him too much. I'm like, you know, because I chose to yell at him. And to make the treaty, and then it's like, okay, now you're going to go to Bal Mamusa. That's... So Valmamusa is a part of the islands that Galgastan set aside for Wallace to rule, but Ron was like, yeah, but it's basically just internment camps. Like, it sucks. Conditions are bad there.
He says it used to be like a nice little mining town, but now it's just basically a slave camp.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, so the Wallaster there. Your people live in squalor. He wants you to, as their hero, to get them to riot. And we get a knight named Ravness who joins us. She is awesome. I really like Ravness.
Yeah, me too.
After Denim leaves the room, Ronwey says to Leonard,
"Well, we don't see this. We don't see this right now, do we? Or do we just see this later?"
Hang on.
Where Duke Bronway is like, hey,
we
see
the beginning of it.
That's
we don't see the whole
later,
thing.
But yes, we see the beginning of it.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Where...
Yeah, I didn't think that was a reveal, full reveal.
It's not. It's all heavily like implied, where they're like winking at each other.
That there's some other ulterior motive.
And once again, as they leave,
basically is just like, I'm counting on you, and it's very sinister.
The Duke's got a big boardroom table, and. Once again, as everyone leaves, they all push their chairs nicely.
I know, they all put their chairs in like so politely.
I love it so much. So then you see Lancelot, good Lancelot again, and they talk about how like we all have fear, and it's kind of how we deal with it. And Lancelot's like, yeah, I had a wife and she died of an illness, that damn disease. She died. But then she sends him a letter to go back to their favorite spot, Silent Hill.
You find her at the hotel.
Yeah.
I liked the talk between Lancelot and Denim, where Denim's doing a lot of like posing of like, I'm not afraid of death, and Lancelot's like, I'm scared every time I draw my fucking sword, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good.
Gastophone's a bit of a turd.
Yeah,
Denim. What did you call Denim? Did you call Denim, Jim?
I don't. Does it let you change his name?
I don't think you can change his name because they say it in the voice acting.
Yeah, his name's Denim.
My game doesn't have voice acting.
And you chose Gastophone?
Yeah.
What?
There was a Saturday Night Live sketch in the 90s with Mark McKinney, because he was briefly on Saturday Night Live. Playing a Cirque du Soleil performer. He's like, I am Gastophone. And so it's been one of my favorite names to use for characters in video games.
That's
ever
cool.
since. And he's like, at
That's
Cirque du
nice and all,
Soleil,
but I prefer
we do
the
not
voice
have
acting.
les animaux.
The voice acting actually is really good in this game.
Okay. I had to turn off the voice acting in Triangle Strategy because it was terrible.
Is it like listening to Grandia's voice acting?
No, it's not that bad. It was just not great.
So we have a couple of short stops here. As
Did you
we
do?
said,
You said that
Duke Ronwey.
there's no random encounters in your version. Is that right?
I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think so.
I've already had
so
a
either.
million
I
of
feel like
them.
every time you,
no.
time you get to a new place, you can. I think that one of the differences, John, yours has random battles, and Reborn has the training option.
Oh, okay.
That might be the difference.
So we have a couple of quick stops on the way to Baba Musa. At Lake Bordu, Denim and Ravnus are kind of scouting ahead, and they run into some Galgastani. Ravnus recognizes the leader of the Galgastani, and they like talk some shit to each other.
Oh, is that that's that one guy, the big beefy boy, and his two pet griffins? I love that encounter.
Yeah,
and he's got his portrait.
That's the next one.
Oh, is that the next one? Okay,
this one has a lot of Ravnus and this. I didn't write his name down. The Ravnus and this dude like talking shit to each other, like then let us draw our swords and clash steel. It's pretty great. But they fight, and Ravnus does kill him. Gorani or something like that was his name. They're like an advanced troop of Galgastani.
Yeah. And they're like, we did not have enough men.
Yeah. We killed them, but then on the Jad Moors, I don't know. We run into another Galgastani line. This one is led by the Beastmaster. He's got
Gamp?
the Griffins.
Excuse me, Gamp.
Yeah, Gamp. And when you beat him, he does leave with his. If you kill his Griffins, he like cries about it. It's pretty great.
I love Gamp because
you don't even kill them.
The art for Gamp looks like Brian Blessed yelling. He's just got like
it does look like Brian
big
Blessed.
teeth, and he's got his two Griffins, Abda and Berta, and that's pretty fun.
Birdo.
Yeah, and he does take his birds and leave when you injure him too much. This was an interesting fight on the swamp because there's a lot of water tiles that some units can get onto and some units can't. So it was like a very restricted movement fight. I thought it was interesting.
Jim, I would watch that Hot Ones in a fucking hot minute. Like,
what?
Sorry, I posted a meme in the group chat.
Is it Brian Blessed on Hot Ones?
No, it says
it's...
Sean Evans had to play 300 hours of Kingdom Hearts to prepare for Donald Duck's Hot Ones interview. And then it has a meme of Sean Evans, and it says, like he's talking, during the battle with Xenohort at the Keyblade Graveyard, you managed to cast Zeta Flare. What sort of work went into preparing for that moment? Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. So, yes, we defeat the Beastmaster at Ziad Moors, but he does run, which is not good for us because he's going to warn the Galgastani at Baba Musa that we are coming.
Oh. This battle, if you have the 1 HP enemy mod on, like this fight can end when those griffins get down to like low health, like low HP. He'll just be like, "Oh no, you've hurt my griffins. We have to go now." But if they start with 1 HP, he does that in the first round as the first thing. Like the battle starts and then stops immediately because both the griffins are at 1 HP. So you don't even have to fight him.
Setting enemies to 1 HP kind of glitches out the game.
It kind of breaks the game.
Weird how that happens. So this final area, after Gamp leaves, and I was like, bye, Gamp. I hope I can recruit you. It's one of those double fight areas. There's a couple of encounters.
Oh, yeah.
Because first you have the Galgastani that are guarding the Wallisters.
Yeah, the idea here is to kill the Gongastani and recruit these people as like resistance fighters, right? But you go here and you kill the Gongastani, and then you say to the people, you need to fight. It's time to fight, and they're like, no thanks.
Yeah.
No thank you.
They want nothing to do with this.
Yeah, they're like, it might suck, but at least we're not like in a war, which is terrible.
Yeah. At least we're not getting fucking slaughtered left and right.
Yeah. At least nobody's trying to stab me.
Denim wants to like gather a small group of people to spread the word of the rebellion. So he kind of, they all kind of break off and go, talk to people, and then I'll meet back up in like a church. But things do not go well when he starts talking to all these kind of like leaders of the community. They are basically like, get fucked. And Vice is just a complete dick face here.
Why are we friends with him?
Great question. He sucks. And like, I didn't really talk about it last week or this week, but like there are several like little scenes of Vice talking to Katua when Denim's not around where he's a real piece of shit to her. Like he blames her. He's constantly like, you make a fool of me, Katua. Like it's a real like incel vibe of like, I want to fuck you and I hate you. You know what I mean? Like it is not pleasant or good. And as we said last week, the guy's name is Vice, so like it's pretty clear what's about to happen.
I'm sure there's good guys named Vice in some game. I think there's a good guy named Vice in Shining Force, maybe.
Miami Vice. So as we're having this discussion and the townspeople are basically telling us to get fucked, Leonard shows up. He was kind of behind us, so he was not there yet. He shows up, and he grabs Denim and is like, let's talk outside. And he tells us basically like this is what the Duke expected to happen. And so new orders, we're going to dress up like Galgastani and slaughter these fucking people.
Yeah, we're gonna if they won't join us, we're gonna incite rebellion by murdering these innocent people.
This is where we get the flashback to Ronwey.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a plan.
This is where we get the flashback to Ronwey talking to Leonard that Jim talked about earlier, where Leonard at first is like, "What? Are you sure?" But he like the Duke is telling him like, "This is what we're doing," and he's gonna go along with it, and he tells the Duke like, "Denim's not gonna do this," and the Duke kind of is like, "Well, you know what to do, wink."
Yeah.
Kill his ass.
And who's this guy that we're talking to? Leonard. Leonard's like, we got to do it, man. Like he doesn't even give it a second thought. He's like, all right, you ready? We got to kill these people.
He's already given it his second thought, and the Duke told him to stuff his second thought up his ass. So
I guess that's true.
Just
yeah.
going with it. But we're given a choice here, and this is a big choice in this game. This decides whether you go down the lawful path or the chaos path.
And they're not what you think.
No.
Yeah.
You can choose to go along with Leonard and slaughter this fucking village, and that is the lawful path. Or you can choose to tell Leonard to get fucked, and that is the chaos path.
I think, or did we all do the chaos path? No, John murdered these people.
Well, let's talk about the chaos path because that's what I did. So I told him to get fucked, and he attacks Denim, but then Vice, Katua, and Ravnus show up. But Leonard tells Vice to kill us, and he attacks us. But
he shoots Ravnus in the tummy with a crossbow.
Well, that's in a minute. At first, this is where Vice has his big fucking heel turn, and his character portrait changes to one where his face is all scrunched up angry and his hair's all standing on end, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, surprise. Vice is evil, and he talks some more shit to Katua because he's got a real, again, I'm not even kidding, he's got some real like pent up incel aggression towards Katua. And
he does.
It concerns me. And then Ravnus talks with Leonard, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And Leonard tells her like, I never thought you to be a traitor. And she says, I'm not a traitor. The Duke's a fucking traitor, and I renounce him, and I renounce the whole fucking thing. I'm done. And then Vice and Leonard, then the fake Galgastani troops show up. Leonar's fake Galgastani troops show up.
Yeah.
Vice and Leonor run off to join them and start slaughtering the townsfolk. But as they run away, Ravnus talks some more shit to Leonor, and Vice turns around and shoots her in the tummy.
Oh.
Very sad.
With a crossbow.
John, what happened in yours? I know we won't talk about this every time, all the differences,
why not?
but I'm curious.
I feel like I don't think they're that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it is that crazy different, but so basically, Vice is like, "Hey, we can't do this. What are you doing? We can't kill all these people." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, Vice is the one that like decides to go with his conscience.
Yeah,
Wow,
he's like,
that's crazy.
And Ravnus is like,
Yeah.
"You've got like dark clouds over you. What's wrong with you? You got to realize this is not the way to do things." And I'm like, "Sorry, this has just got to be the way it is." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to stop you. So you got to fight Ravnus." And
Wow.
Oh.
unfortunately, after you fight her, you do have to kill all the rest of like her supporters as well. She's got a whole backup band, so this takes a while. I was kind of luring them out one by one so that they were, so you didn't have to fight the whole mass of them at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a whole. I like the layout of this because there's a big long staircase, and she like knocked Gastophone off the staircase. And that was pretty funny. And it felt
cool.
very epic in a cool way.
Gastophone the Murderer.
Yeah, Gastophone the Murderer instead of Denim the Good Boy. And because so basically Leonor said, "Hey, you go take care of her while I go murder the civilians." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Sounds good to me."
Cool.
But unfortunately, Vice runs away. So there are going to be people who know the truth about what happened. And and I kill Ravnus, and she's just like, "I hope the clouds over you part and you see the light one day," and then she dies.
This is crazy. So like it's wildly different. Like Vice is the good guy
it
here.
is.
Yeah.
In John's, you kind of position yourself as the antagonist, which is kind of
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes.
Yeah, so we had to fight we fought some of the Galgastani troops, but even though we defeat them, like they hold us long enough that the rest of them are able to burn the town and kill the people.
That happened, yeah. Happens in both, I guess. These people are just fucking doomed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that is it for this chunker of Square Roots.
Oh, and sorry, I should
week-
say one more thing. Sorry. What's her face? What's her name? The sister?
Katua.
Yeah, Katua does. She's like, "Look, I'm going to do whatever Gastophone does." So, but she's really upset by this. She does not like what you're turning into.
Yeah, I feel like she's gonna be a nag in either playthrough.
Hopefully,
She does
she's
not like
in
anything
the
the
lawful
protagonist
ending.
does.
She murders Denim. Kind of hope that's how
like
Is she
Alma.
does she continue to be in every battle, or does she eventually leave?
I hope not. I love having her there.
She is left for me.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, it's handy when she's around because the enemies have such a fucking hard on for your healers that they go after her, and she can't die. She teleports out, so when she's around, it's really handy because she absorbs a lot of damage that otherwise you're going to deal with. But by chapter 3, she's gone.
Ah, okay.
So next week, I'm a little iffy on it. My plan is to finish chapter 2. It's going to be up to you guys. If you all feel like it's too much, we can do half. It's eight
Battles?
chapters in the chapter. No, not 8 battles, because there's always more battles. But if you look at a guide, it's about 8. So like if we get through about 4 and you guys feel like it's taken too long, that's fine. I'm a little nervous about trying to write the notes for chapter 2 because the notes were so long for 4 fucking battles basically here. Mm-hmm. But sorry listeners, I don't have a hard answer on this right now. The plan is to finish chapter 2. But if the gang here can't do it, then we'll probably cut it early. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I just felt like, I thought this was going to be too short, and then the notes turned out really long. There's a lot of plot.
Matt?
The Switch.
Matt's on
Okay.
Switch.
How is it on Switch?
It's great. I love
Okay.
it. It's fantastic. These games, I feel like, are custom made for playing it on your TV or getting up in the morning and just grabbing your Switch and playing it in bed. You know what I mean?
Does your version allow you to rotate the map at all? Because that's the one thing I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't rotate the
So
map.
you
A
can
little bit,
rotate left
and then
and
you can go
right.
top down.
You can rotate left and right, but only once, and it'll let you do top down. There is no like full circle rotation like in
okay.
Tactics. Like
Yeah,
in
it's
Final
not
Fantasy
like
Tactics.
fully 3D.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. I find myself using just the 2D map to figure out where people are more than anything.
Yeah, I think mine does have that 2D map.
Anyway, it's time for us to talk about what we are squarely against, and I'll go first. I'm roundly for the Vice portrait change. I loved it. He looks very silly. He looks like the maddest boy on earth. He's just such a fucking piece of shit, and I am really looking forward to and hoping this game allows me to murder him. What about you, John? What are you squarely against?
I would say I'm roundly for just the map design. I think it's very creative and well thought out.
I agree. I want to throw a little caveat in there. You are going to fight through the same maps over and over again. Like, compared to Final Fantasy Tactics, which I feel like has like 50 different maps, this thing has like 15. And you just keep going across them. And it gets fucking old.
We're going to see the big staircase again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've been back to Balmamusa, but a lot of that stuff around Almorca Castle, like, you're going to be fighting around that shit constantly.
Oh. It's my turn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Jim? What are you squarely against?
I'm roundly for the writing of the game. I was annoyed by it last time because I felt like I didn't understand what was going on, and every word was new.
Yeah.
Like I was learning new words and I didn't know what they meant, and I didn't know what they were referring to when they were like saying different words, and it was really disorienting and confusing. Now that I've got a lot of it sorted out, and I got a lot of it done actually on the episode with you guys explaining things, I like it a lot more. I like that the game doesn't really want you to identify with any of the characters except for Denim. Like they all have good and bad elements. I think the only kind of truly evil character is Vice so far, at least on the Chaos path. So it's interesting. I think I'm kind of hooked on this game. I didn't expect to be, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I'm still pretty confused on some of this stuff. I have gone through the Warren report, though I haven't read every piece, and I bet that would probably help explain a lot of this. But like, I still feel pretty lost in the weeds on who's what. Like, I know that like we're Wallisters and like the Galagastani are bad, and we don't like the Bakram. And I think Lotus might be the continent. I'm not 100% sure about that. There's a lot, but like it's getting clearer.
Yeah. Well, all right. I think that's it for this episode. But before we go, we'd like to remind everyone about our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/SquareRootsPodcast. We have hours and hours and hours of bonus content. We're planning something super fun for Halloween, for October. We're gonna have a lot more bonus content than usual. So stay tuned for that. If you'd like to check that out, like I said, you can sign up at patreon.com/SquareRootsPodcast. You can get access to all that content for $3. And then if you would like to pitch in a little bit more at the $5 level, you get access to all that content, plus the ability to vote on games that we play on the show.
Whoa.
Another benefit of being a patron is we like to personally thank some of them on the air every week. And I'm going to kick us off this week by thanking Rachel, Jake Dickerson, Chris Parsons, T. Bumpkins, wishes everyone a Happy New Year from Tickle Crab Island Dew, Arthur A., Seth G., Lex Averial. I almost read that as Sex G, because it's Seth G and then Lex Averial. David Shook, Ryan Schmidt and Vanessa's mom chose the lawful path.
I'd like to thank all Tactics 2025. I agree. Bree Girth. For Square Roots Podcast, I'm Stim Stanks. I'm Star Drifter. DP 2099. Sorry. Tyler. Butts on Parade. Hexagon. And Eduardo Franco.
I'd like to thank friend of DeSoto, Aaron O'Toole, Ron, Anthony Cruz, Ward Childress, Huxley, Iguana, Knopfert, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name, Joshua, Boo, Broxon, Stephen Paget, and Ryan.
I'd also like to thank Codab Games, Nick, Gage Lasharite, Rubber Bear, Justin Ham, Jaybird, Sexy Grandma's Retirement Home, Wishbone is Gay, Wash in the Wind, and Samu Mitchell. I feel like we should give Samu a little bit of an extra shout out because that meme of the Twitter post that I put in the group chat, he actually tagged me in that on Twitter, like right before I shared it with you guys. So thanks for tagging me in a really funny post, Samu. That was funny. All right. That's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to send us an email to have read on the air, you can send it to squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or find us on Blue Sky at squarerootspod.bsky.social.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. I listen on Downcast right now. I don't know what you all use. Maybe you use Apple Podcasts. Maybe you use... I think Google Podcasts is gone, right? Anyway, thanks to...
It is gone.
Google Play? Is it really?
Google Podcasts. Yeah, I think so.
Google. I think all the podcasts got folded into Google Play Music. Is that still a thing? Or is it all YouTube music now?
That's what I use. Thanks, but I don't use it for podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter. You can find Stephen on YouTube. Links in the show notes. Farts.
All right, for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant, and this was a short fucking episode.
I'm
you're
Johnny
welcome,
Short
listeners.
Edit Brandon.
Thanks, Vanessa, for not showing up.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.